Let's talk about the myth of 6-0. The fairy tales spun from Rawalpindi for a public that was never shown proof. But this isn't about myths. This is about brutal, satellite-verified arithmetic. The final score of Operation Sindoor wasn't a work of fiction. It was 34-0. And that's not our number. That is the number Pakistan's own ISPR was forced to write into its own dossier when the satellite imagery became impossible to deny. 34 confirmed Indian strikes, each one documented, and on the other side, an echoing silence. A complete failure to produce a single, credible image of retaliatory damage. So the fiction of 6-0 is dead. The hard fact of 34-0 has taken its place. Hard to swallow, let's get into the nitty-gritty. In the pre-dawn hours of May 2025, the silent calculations of a new strategic doctrine erupted into kinetic reality. Operation Sindoor was unleashed. It was a military campaign that would, in the span of a few days, fundamentally rewrite the rules of conflict in South Asia. More than just a retaliation, it was the demonstration of a new, hyper-aggressive, and technologically superior Indian military posture. The operation was a complex tapestry of air power, precision munitions, and audacious planning, aimed at a long list of targets deep within Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir. While Indian officials presented a narrative of surgical, limited strikes, a dossier later compiled and released by the Pakistani government alleged a far wider, more devastating campaign. It claimed a total that sources suggest numbered as high as 34 locations were hit, painting a picture of an offensive that left no target, whether a terrorist safe haven or a major military installation, beyond India's reach. This is the comprehensive account of those claimed targets, verified against available open-source intelligence. The operation was spearheaded by the Indian Air Force's most advanced platforms. The Omnirole Dassault Rafale jets, they were complemented by the battle-hardened, upgraded Mirage 2000s, providing a formidable top cover and electronic jamming shield, was the Su-30 MKI, India's air dominance workhorse, which also served as a launch platform for long-range standoff weapons. This aerial armada delivered an arsenal of sophisticated munitions. The French-made Scalp cruise missile, a stealthy, bunker-busting weapon, was reserved for the most hardened and high-value command centers. The Indo-Russian BrahMos, the world's fastest supersonic cruise missile, was used to deliver overwhelming kinetic blows to critical military infrastructure, its sheer speed making interception nearly impossible. For targets requiring precision from a safer distance, the rocket-boosted hammer bomb was deployed. And for surgical strikes on fluid or well-defended targets, a fleet of loitering munitions, the so-called kamikaze drones like the Israeli Harop and the indigenous Sky Striker, were used to seek, identify, and destroy their objectives with pinpoint accuracy. The campaign began with a devastating first wave on May 7th, focused on what India described as the nerve centers of anti-India terrorist organizations. 1. Bahawalpur. This was not just a strike, but an act of strategic decapitation. The primary target was Markaz Subhan Allah, the global headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed. Deep penetration Scalp cruise missiles were used to obliterate this ideological and operational core. 2. Murid. In a parallel high-value strike, the sprawling Markaz Taiba complex, the Lashkar-e-Taiba's main headquarters, was hit with similar force. The goal was to shatter the myth of invulnerability surrounding these terror sanctuaries. 3. Tarakalin. The Jaish-e-Mohammed facility at Sarjal, a known weapons depot and launchpad, was struck to sever a key logistical artery. 4. Sialkot. The Hizbul Mujahideen base, Maimuna Joya, was targeted. Its proximity to the border made it a prime candidate for a strike by precision-guided artillery or loitering munitions. 5. Barnala. The Lashkar-e-Taiba's Markaz al-Hadith was hit, part of a systematic effort to dismantle the group's operational hubs across the region. 6 and 7. Kotli. This city in Pakistan-administered Kashmir witnessed a dual strike. Both the Jaish-e-Mohammed's Markaz Abbas and the Hizbul Mujahideen's Masgar Rahil Shahid were eliminated, disrupting coordinated terrorist operations. 8 and 9. Muzaffarabad. In the capital of Pakistan-administered Kashmir, two major camps were systematically destroyed. Lashkar-e-Taiba's Shawainala camp and Jaish-e-Mohammed Syedna Bilal camp, effectively neutralizing key training and infiltration infrastructure. 10 through 17. A broader offensive swept through the border regions. Terrorist infrastructure, training camps, and launchpads in Rawalakot, Chakswari, Bimber, the Neelam Valley, near Jhelum, in Chakwal, Shakargarh, and across the Lipa Valley were systematically rolled up. This was a methodical cleansing of the immediate cross-border threat, using a relentless combination of loitering drones, guided rockets, and intense artillery fire. Following Pakistan's military retaliation, Operation Sindoor escalated dramatically. On May 9th and 10th, India unleashed a second wave, this time aimed squarely at the Pakistani military's ability to wage war. 18 through 21, the focus major air bases at Nur Khan in Rawalpindi, the strategic Rafiqui Air Base, the military facility at Murid, and the airfield in Sukkur were all hit. Runways were cratered, hangars were struck, and command facilities were targeted with BrahMos and scalp missiles to induce temporary paralysis. 22 and 23. Simultaneously, the operation sought to blind its adversary. Critical air defense and radar installations at Pasrar and Chunian were hit. Anti-radiation Harop drones were reportedly used to hunt down the radar emitters, punching gaping holes in Pakistan's integrated air defense network and creating safe corridors for the Indian strike packages. 24 through 27. The assault on air power continued relentlessly. The premier fighter base at Sargodha, the modern Baleri Air Base near Karachi, the strategic forward base at Jacobabad, and the high-altitude airfield at Skardu were all targeted. These strikes were designed not just to damage aircraft, but to disrupt the entire operational tempo of the Pakistani Air Force. But the most audacious claims documented in the Pakistani dossier depicted a third, clandestine phase of the operation. This phase allegedly involved stealthy, long-range drones penetrating hundreds of kilometers to strike at the nation's strategic heartland, shattering the illusion of a safe rear. These strikes sent a chilling message: no part of the country was immune. 28. Peshawar. A strike on the city would be of immense symbolic and strategic value. Peshawar is the headquarters of the Pakistan Army's XI Corps, the nerve center for all operations along the volatile Afghan border. A drone strike here would not have been aimed at random infrastructure. The likely targets would have been high-value command and control nodes within the cantonment, regional intelligence headquarters of the ISI, or key air defense batteries protecting the city. The goal? To demonstrate that even the most fortified military commands were vulnerable, inducing paranoia and disruption at the highest levels. 29. Jehang. Located at a strategic crossroads in central Punjab, a strike on Jehang would be aimed at disrupting the logistical backbone of the Pakistani military. This area is a key transit point for road and rail lines connecting the north and south of the country. A precision strike could have targeted major ammunition storage facilities located outside the city or key communication towers, thereby hampering the mobilization and movement of military formations far from the front lines. 30. Hyderabad. As the second-largest city in Sindh, Hyderabad hosts a major military cantonment and is critical to the defense of Pakistan's southern flank and coastal areas. A strike this deep into the south, over 900 kilometers from the border, would have been a staggering feat. Potential targets could have included divisional command headquarters, sensitive signals intelligence units, or the air defense network protecting the southern airspace, including vital economic assets. It would have forced Pakistan to redeploy defensive assets, thinning them out elsewhere. 31. Gujarat. Situated near the massive military garrisons of Karian and Mangla. 32. Bahawalnagar. Located in southern Punjab, this city is home to significant formations of the Pakistan Rangers and Army units. 33. Attock. This target represents a strike against the very sinews of Pakistan's war-making capacity. Attock is not just a city. It is home to major oil refineries and is in close proximity to the Pakistan Aeronautical Complex at Kamra, the heart of the country's aviation and defense industry. A strike near Attock would have been a grave strategic warning, targeting economic assets essential for sustaining a prolonged conflict and demonstrating the ability to cripple military production at its source. 34. Chhor. A remote cantonment town deep in the deserts of Sindh, Chhor is a major base for Pakistan's armored formations and hosts extensive firing ranges. A strike here, in one of the most secluded and heavily guarded military areas, would have been the ultimate demonstration of reach and intelligence. It would have been aimed at a specific high-value asset within the cantonment, perhaps an armored vehicle depot, a divisional head, or a specialized training facility, proving that even Pakistan's most distant desert fortresses were visible and vulnerable. These 34 targets, from the terror camps of Kashmir to the air bases of Punjab and the alleged drone strikes deep in Sindh, chronicle the full, staggering scope of Operation Sindoor as claimed by Pakistan. It was a campaign that showcased a new, potent, and far-reaching military capability, one whose full consequences continue to echo across the subcontinent, leaving behind a new and uncertain strategic reality. The targets for which India didn't release satellite proof are actually listed in the official ISPR document from Pakistan itself. Pakistan's own military says India hit them. Maybe India just struck so many places, it didn't even bother showcasing evidence for all of them. And then there's Kirana Hill. Almost nobody is talking about it. Neither the Indian nor Pakistani side will discuss it, especially not the Americans, who usually rush to comment. On this, all three are silent. But evidence is out there for those who look. Kirana Hill isn't just any location, it's tied closely to Pakistan's nuclear program, a site shrouded in secrecy for decades. That silence speaks volumes. When neither side discusses what happened and no one shows the images, you know it's serious. What are they hiding? Why is everyone so quiet? If you want to see what really went down at Kirana Hill, check out my video and make up your own mind.